I'm going to count to 3, and I want you to yell surprise. Cover your eyes. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Surprise!
You are now at your surprise party. Look around. Who's in the room? Pretend you're really at the party, not just with these people. The people closest to you are in this room. Your family, your friends, maybe some neighbors. I had a 5th grade teacher at one of my parties one time. That was a little strange. All the people in the room know you the best. This is basically your life up to this point. Now, if I walked in the room and asked everybody to quiet down and said, what should this person do with their life? With you standing by my side. And asked the people in the room, what should this person go to school for? What do you think they'd say? They'd all have an answer. A lot of those answers would probably be the same. Whether they're right or not, we'll see. We'll talk about that a little more today. Did you notice I said the word should? I'm not a huge fan of that word. Should. It just kind of has a little ugly little twinge to it. You'll find that at each of your parties, there are people that may want to should all over you. At each of your parties, you might find at least one of these 3 people. A lot of you are likely to have a Tommy Topper. Tommy's the guy that, like, you tell him when you went to the Elon Duke basketball game and you sat in the front row and it was like the most incredible experience in your life. And Tommy's the guy that says, yeah, that's cool, but my daddy, he invented Duke basketball. You know that guy? Some of you may have Nancy Naysayer in your party. She's the one that she'll be like, I went to Elon. I was walking into the Corey Center one day and it was raining and I dropped my books and it was just awful and I don't know, you probably shouldn't go to business school because that might happen to you too. She's like, you can nickname her Wet Blanket. The other person that you might have at your party, and hopefully you do, is Chelsea Cheerleader. Chelsea is the one that's got your back. She's the person in your life that whatever it is that you say you're going to go to school for, whatever you want to do with your life, she's got your back. She's there to support you. And instead of shooting all over you, she's just going to be the one cheering you on. You want to find those people in your life instead of the wet blankets. I think it's important to learn how to kind of wag your finger at the shoulders. I had the opportunity to talk about wagging your finger when I was asked to speak at the beginning of a 5K race last year. I was asked to speak a few words about a little girl who the race was in honor of. It went something like this. It's really important to stretch before a big race like this. Do a few of these, and do a few of these. Let's do one together. Y'all pretend you're at the race with me. Everybody put your finger up. All right, start wagging it back and forth. Really stretch it, really wag. Now get your hips into it a little bit. Feel a little sassy now, don't you? You just learned one of Ella Newmiller's favorite moves. One of her more famous pictures is of her with a microphone in her hand at a, that's my Ella. That's the Ella trying to lick my Ella. She had a microphone in her hand at her 7th birthday party, and she was just kind of wagging her finger like this. Ella was a healthy, yet sassy little girl when she was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor on her brainstem. She just lived life to the fullest. When she was diagnosed, it was about the time that this picture was taken when my Ella and Ella Newmiller were 5 years old, just finishing preschool. And the doctors gave her weeks to months to live. She wagged her finger at that. I believe you all have things in your life going on now and they're getting ready to go on that you can wag your finger at. You really have, and it's hard for me to, you'll hear today how important this is and how passionate I am about this, but you just have a fantastic opportunity to create the life that you want versus the life that others think you should have. What is this it thing? I wrote a book called Holy It. You kind of got to be careful when you say it's holy it. That was slightly purposeful. I break it down to the 3 P's. Passion, purpose, project. Passion is like, why am I here? Like here, speaking to you today. I'm here because of Elon. That experience with her just absolutely changed my life. I want to change the world because of my Ella. When Ella Newmiller was diagnosed, it was right at the end of preschool. She went to the hospital for the first time on a Sunday night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, news started to trickle out about how sick this little girl was. I didn't realize how close she was to my daughter and my wife until this happened. But the doctors say she's got weeks to months to live. We found out that her birthday was that coming Friday. She was turning 5. And all her parents wanted was a birthday party for her. She got a kick-butt birthday party. Myself and 10 women. I still haven't figured out why I was the only guy, but guys, don't be scared if you have this kind of thing happen, it's okay. Me and 10 women planned just this kick-butt birthday party for her. In 2 days' time, we got together a DJ, a musician, a bubble machine, Stormy, the mascot of the Hurricanes, Mr. and Mrs. Wolf from NC State. Ella arrived in a horse-drawn carriage. It was a princess-themed party. She was presented when she arrived. It was like no other. And that day just absolutely changed my life because it helped me get in touch with what I'm so passionate about. And it's doing this. It's serving others. It's helping other people figure out what they're passionate about. Your passion is in you. It's just a matter of busting it out if it hasn't already. And we're going to do some of that today. Your passion, it may come from something bad that's happened in your life. It could be an illness that rocked your world. It could be something you've always been around as a child. I always did Meals on Wheels with my dad. It just kind of instilled volunteer work in me. You might have been the neighborhood pet sitter. You might have been the guy that cut grass. I don't know, whatever it is, it might be something that you experienced as you were growing up. It may come from something you've always been good at. If you've always been good at making people laugh, or playing the guitar, whatever that might be. Where I can tell you it doesn't come from is the shoulders. It doesn't come from, and I really want to make sure I teach my daughter this, that she can wag her finger at these people. It doesn't come from Tommy Topper, who says, you should do this because you're not going to be good enough at this, so you should do this. It doesn't come from your boyfriend or girlfriend and what they're into, so you think you should be into it. It doesn't come from your friends and what they're into, so you think you should be into it. That's the first P, passion. The second P is purpose. If passion is about like why you're here in this room talking to this group, why you're here, purpose, your life's purpose, is why are you here on this earth? You ever really think about that? You're 18, 19, 20 years old. You ever stopped and really thought about why the heck am I here? I did when I was in 10th grade, and I could not figure out the answer. Why am I here? What the heck is my purpose? So I tried to take my own life twice. You can laugh at this. Thankfully, I wasn't good at that. It's funny, it's okay, I'm here. What I realized right after I went through that mess was that I can serve others. I immediately somehow became the guy that people came to, mainly women, it worked out okay, mainly my girlfriends, but would come to me. For some reason, that just opened the door for people to open themselves up to me, and I became the guy that got the call when somebody got dumped or whatever it was. And I found that I could do for others. It was just this huge aha from I'm worthless to wow, I have value. That princess party changed my life. This story I heard from a guy named Michael Chase changed my life as well. Michael Chase wrote a book called Am I Being Kind? He tells the story in that book about how he was down pretty low. He had made some bad decisions in his life. And one day he's driving down the road and he ran over a turtle. Didn't hit it, but straddled it, went right over the top of it. He said he pulled over to the side of the road, got out, and it was like everything stopped. No more traffic, no danger to him or this turtle. He walked over and picked this thing up, and they just kind of had a moment. And he took the turtle and he put it on the side of the road in a safe place. And just like that princess party just kind of cranked up the passion inside of me, this cranked up the purpose inside of him. He realized, just like I did after my mess in high school, that he can serve others. He can do good things for whether it's other human beings, animals, whatever it is. He has a purpose for being. The guy has become the kindness guy. He started something called the Kindness Center. He wrote a book called Am I Being Kind? He's gotten national media for it. And he gets paid for just being nice. How do you do that? Well, he's in front of groups like you, just like I am. Just talking about the value of doing good for others. What Michael and I agree on is that your purpose in life is shared by all of us. The reason we're here is to serve other people. The really cool thing about that, if you get that, if you agree with that, that your life is not this, it's this. The awesome thing about that is it means that you have a purpose, you have a purpose, you. There's a reason you're here. Have you ever really taken the time to think about this? It's so easy when you're growing up and you're going to school and you're playing sport. It's so easy for your life to be so limited. But as soon as you open it up and if you get this, it's just a game changer. Three P's: passion, purpose, project. Passion, why you're here. Purpose, why you're here. Project. This is all working towards figuring out your reason for being here, your thing in life that you're called to do. My life was changed by that princess party. It was changed by hearing Michael Chase's story. And it was changed when I made somebody cry. Hopefully I haven't done that today, but if I have, it's okay. Or if I do, it's okay. I had written this book, Holy It. And this woman that I knew, we were just kind of business friends. Her name was Olala. Talked about Ella, and then we'll talk about Olala. Olala is a marketing expert in Raleigh. She owns a marketing company, and the way her business model was set, basically she just was hired by big companies to do marketing campaigns for them. She had created this thing over here. She had done this project that was just over there. She read my book, and she connected this project with her overall life and her business. This project was basically a curriculum to get in front of business owners, salespeople, people that have a vested interest in their business thing doing well. And she had just kind of packaged it over there. Well, when she read the book and she made this distinction or read about passion and purpose and project, she realized that this project was really something she was crazy passionate about and something that, wow, it served others. She has since flipped her business model around from being hired just by big companies to using this project or product to get in front of groups. And now she's serving way more people than she was when she was just hired by companies. It made her cry. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Thank you for sharing. Can I use that in a talk? Okay. Passion, purpose, project. Those are the 3 P's. They help you identify your it, your thing in life that you're called to do. What I want you to do today is just really listen, take notes, and take the time, or agree to take the time afterward to actually think about what you've heard today. Whether you're in the group that totally knows what you're going to do with your life, or if you're in the group, no offense that I'm looking at you, that you have no idea what you're going to do with your life, or if you're in the group that is doing what someone else thinks you should do with your life. If you listen, take notes, and take some time to think about this afterward, you will get what Jane, etc., wants you to get from today. They want you to learn a little more about yourself. They want you to have some strategies about where you should go with your career choice, with school, etc. And they want you to learn a little bit about networking. I haven't talked about money yet, have I? Has anybody heard money? Okay. Your students, we've got to talk about at least one study today. Sorry. There was a study done over a 20-year period. These 2 researchers, I guess I need to give them credit, Kriegel and Packer were their names. This is so cool. All right. Over 20 years, they studied 1,500 people. They had them in 2 groups. Group A was the group of people, it was 83% of the group. And it was a group of people that said, I'm going to go after the money now so I can do what I really want to do later. Make all the money now. When I turn 40 and look like this, no hair, goatee to cover it up, that kind of, I'm going to then do what I really want to do with my life. That's 83% of the group, Group A. Group B was 17, is my math right? 83%? 17% was in Group A. I'm sorry, 83%, 17% in Group B. Group B was a group of people that said, the heck with it, I'm going to do what I'm passionate about now, worry about the money later. After 20 years, there were 101 millionaires out of 1,500. 101 were millionaires. How many do you think were in Group A? I've got it in my fancy college link here. Hold on 1 second. That's one was North Carolina Crown Bell. Let me see. How many were from Group A? 1. One person out of 1,245 people that were in Group A that said, I'm going to go after the money now so I can do what I really want to do later. 1. Group B, 100. 100 out of 255 people that were in Group A. That's 39%. 1, that's like way less than 1%. 100 out of 255, 39%. There is value in going after what you want to do, what you feel called to do now. Martin Luther King said there's a fierce urgency to now. I wholeheartedly agree. PowerPoint for that, did I? How do you connect this to your parents? Sorry if this is a hot spot for anybody, but who in here has pissy parents? I'm sorry, I'm a pissy parent. Who in here has parents who have ever conveyed that they wish they were doing something else with their life? Anybody? Don't really like my job? Yeah, they're out there. Why do you suppose that is? I think some of it can be that your parents' generation, which now that I think about it isn't that much older than me, maybe started earlier than you might. I mean, there's all this generational stuff. If they started earlier, it created financial pressures in their life earlier, so they kind of felt pigeonholed into A. I think a lot of it is peer pressure. A little secret is that peer pressure does not end when you graduate. It doesn't end in high school, you found it in college. It doesn't end in college, it goes on to the workplace. It is alive and well in neighborhood subdivisions, on the golf course, in the office. I hear it all the time. And I hear it from people who want to tell you you're crazy for taking a chance. And what's behind that, if you've taken a single psychology yet, is because they're jealous and they want to take a chance. I've heard it from so many people. I've spoken to not just students, but I've spoken to audiences of adults and people that are in the working world that say, man, I really wish I heard this message of yours when I was in college. Because then I would have known all this before I felt the pressure to have the big house, to have the big mortgage that comes with the big house, to have all the right cars, to have the 13 devices, laptops, and all that stuff. I know this because I've heard it from those people that I've spoken to and that have read the book, and I know it because I'm living it. Time for a little transparency here. If you've watched any political campaigns, that's like the big transparency word. I'm living this whole Group A, Group B thing. I've been a mortgage banker for 17 years. I've got the nice house, I've got the nice cars, we've got the 13 devices. I counted them last night so I could talk about them today. You could stack them and they'd be about as high as, maybe a little higher than that. I've made the money. I've worked for the man, so to speak. It's kind of an ugly term, but you'll hear it a lot. I guess I was in Group A, but I'm working damn hard to get into Group B by way of writing my books, speaking to groups like yours, to try to be going after the passion more so than the job. After we went through all that mess with Ella, we as a family tried to figure out how we could serve families that have a kid with cancer. We found this organization called Lighthouse Family Retreat. They hold retreats for families that have a child with cancer. We volunteered with them last summer. It was so cool. You go to Florida, you spend a week, you get matched up with a family that has a child with cancer as a volunteer family, and you just serve them. That experience, it was like ding, 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 whether it's a religious thing, whatever you want to call it, but that's what I want to do. They do it in Florida. I want them to allow me to do it in North Carolina. I'm talking to them about starting this nonprofit chapter in North Carolina. It's like a light from above in terms of what I really feel called to do, and wouldn't it just plug into this message so well? And wouldn't I love to not have to stand up here and say, I'm living two lives. And that is a huge takeaway for you today. A lot of adults, little secret, are living two lives. They're over here as the mortgage guy. They want to be over here all the time as the author and speaker that's changing lives, changing the world. They're over here worried about sales calls and being in the office at the right time and pleasing their boss. They're over here returning messages to Jane about the talk at Elon. But they they can't be over here to return that message because this is the work computer and they can't do personal email from working. So they got to come over here and type that message to Jane on the personal. It's exhausting. And I don't want you to have to do that. It's like you have these 2 feet going sideways between these 2 things. If you get connected with this today and use this going forward, you can have your 2 feet together, not pulling you in 2 different directions. And you can be going forward towards one thing. How? How do I do this? I know you want to know that. 3 things you can do. 1, get quiet. Best example I can give you about just taking the time to be quiet. My son, he was, I think, about 5 years old when this happened. He was the kid that always had to be playing with other kids. It was so hard to figure out where he was. Luckily, we know all our neighbors and trust him. No matter where he lands, he's probably okay. One morning, he said, "Can I go play with Edie?" I said, "Sure, you can go play with Edie." So he goes out the door, and we've got a glass front door, so I can really watch him. And he goes over to Edie's house, and she couldn't play. So he started back across the front yard. He doesn't know I'm watching him. And he just sits down. And I'm watching him, and he sits there, and he's just playing with a blade of grass, just taking some time to just think. I thought for sure he was going to buzz over to the other side and go over to Jack's house. But he just sat there and collected himself and just thought. You ever really do that? Just take the time to just sit and think? That was 30 seconds. Did it feel like 30 minutes? Be honest, I'm sure it did. Do you ever do that? This thing. Oh my gosh, put it down. I have to tell myself to do this. It's okay, we all do it. They're addicting. It's like drugs you're not putting in your body, but you're putting them close. Put it down, get on your bike, go for a ride, and think. Put it down, put on your tennis shoes, go for a run, and think. Put it down or turn off the TV and just sit and think. It is amazing what bubbles to the surface when you do this. I did it in the sauna. When I started writing this book and had the idea for the book, I would be in the sauna at the gym and would just stop and think. I had so many ideas that came to the surface, it was incredible. But you just gotta do it. And now that you in this room know that you can do this, if you can give each other permission to do it. We'll talk about that more in just a second. The other thing you can do to get to the point where you understand where you're headed, what you're definitely going to go to school for, what you're going to do with your life, this is such a novel idea. Write down things that you can actually do. Really? Did he really have to tell me to do that? Best example I've ever heard. That light bulb goes out. Your first instinct to write on a sticky note or put on a to-do list is to change the light bulb. If that's what you've written down, you're going to get to the store and you're going to be in front of a sea of light bulbs and you're not going to know which freaking light bulb you need to buy. your action step, your thing that you need to do is not change the light bulb. You can't change the light bulb. You need to go get a ladder. It sounds so simple, but there's big, thick books written about this stuff, about how to get things done. One of them, the best-selling one, is called Getting Things Done. The woman that co-authored that book turned it into another book that was called Take Back Your Life. This was the book written for how to use Microsoft Outlook to manage your tasks and projects to get things done. Holy God. They have to write these big books to figure this out. If you can get this, it will help you now in school, and it will help you in your business life forever and ever. Do not write down things that you cannot do. You have to write the next action. You can think of it kind of like an accordion. The project name is up here, but you pull it down. Do you know what an accordion is? Sorry, I'm 40. All right, you pull it down, and there's the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. Project, action, 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 action. I've worked through people. The reason I'm here today, well, I already talked about that. Somebody that helped me get here today was in a mastermind group with me, where I basically helped people understand this concept, and people were forever writing down stuff that they can't do. I talked about the Kindness Center. You can't just get an internship at the Kindness Center. You need to email me so that I can connect you to Michael Chase so you can talk to him about getting an internship there. Get that? You can't marry the hot girl in your marketing class, but you can hold the door for her. What's the next step to get there? It's just something to latch onto and use and use and use and use. We talked about involving others. The people at your surprise party can be helpful. Sometimes they'll be well guided, sometimes not. Accountability, gosh, I said transparency, now I'm going to say accountability. Sorry, but accountability is okay, so I decided I was going to write this book. Everything with the experience with Ella, I was like, I got to do something for other people. I'm going to take all this knowledge I've gained from hearing speakers talk, from reading books, and I'm going to put it in one place and put it in a book. I told everybody. I put it on Facebook. I told my neighbors. I told my kids. I told my coworkers. I told my boss. I was getting accountability pings from all over the place. Scott, how's your book coming along? Scott, when's your book going to be done? Daddy, why are you watching TV and not writing your book? Holy smokes, how could I not finish this book? You can do the same thing. You can go to your advisor. Say you haven't decided on your major. You can go to your advisor and say, I'm going to pick my major by March 10th, or I'm going to wear, if I don't do that, I'm going to have a t-shirt made, and I'm going to wear it around campus all week that says, I love my mommy. That would be embarrassing. I think you'd rather pick your major by March 10th than wear that t-shirt. Maybe not. Maybe you love your mommy. I hope you do. The 3 P's: passion, purpose, project, money, networking. Something else we want to make sure we talk about today, and you're going to talk about with Gary Tomlinson later today. I know Gary, I'm jealous of his hair. You're going to see it, he's got a big coiffed hair. Gosh, I want to be you. Networking. All right, we're going to do a little activity. 2, 2, 2, 2. 2 is the theme. 2 people get together. All right? You're going to ask each other 2 questions. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do it. I want you to ask the other person and then switch. Ask the other person, what's the biggest thing, the biggest challenge of last year for you? What was your biggest challenge in the last 12 months? What's your biggest challenge in the next 12 months? And then you turn and ask the other person. Okay, what was your biggest challenge in the last 12 months? What's your biggest challenge in the next 12 months? 2 minutes, go. You thought about a way that you could help. You did? Anybody else? Were you sitting there thinking, wow, how could I help this person through this challenge? I appreciate your honesty. Isn't that magic? I'm so glad you didn't all raise your hand. How many of you, when you think about it, when that person was giving you the answer, were you thinking about the next thing you were going to say? It's okay. We all do it. We're human. We love to talk. That goes right to networking. The best way I can describe this to you is it's like the opposite of breaking up. Networking, breaking up. How do you put those two together? With breaking up, sometimes we hear these words, it's not about you, it's about me. That's another discussion for another day. With networking, it is all about you, and it's not about me. It's the opposite of breaking up. When you're in a networking meeting, whether it's face-to-face or a group of people, your first instinct is to just show up and throw up. This is who I am, this is what I do, this is my product, blah, 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 blah. When you're sitting across the room from somebody or across the table from somebody, focus on that person, what that person is saying. What I just talked about is called actively listening. You're sitting there listening for ways to make sure that you get it, make sure what this person is up against, and figure out how you can help them. It's magical. I've done it since I heard a speaker tell me about it a long time ago. You can do this in a couple of ways. If you're looking to help this person that you just met, he just made a connection, and you and I are sitting in a coffee shop. You tell me something that's a challenge of yours, I can immediately go to kind of my database of the books I've read, the articles I've read, the things I learned in school, and share something. Or you can step away and share that knowledge with them another time. Somebody did this for me. It was probably 15 years ago. No, it wasn't 15. It was, my son is 7. It was about 7.5 years ago. My wife's pregnant with my son. I'm in a networking meeting where this guy is trying to sell me something. In that conversation, it came up, small talk at the beginning of the conversation, my wife's pregnant, we're having a little boy. About 4 days later, I get a box from Amazon that's got a book in it called Bringing Up Boys. This guy's trying to sell me something, and he sends me a parenting book because he knows I'm nervous as hell about how to bring up a boy, even though I'm a woman. As you read in school, as you read once you get out of school, read. Think about how you can use these things to save or help somebody else. This one, if you haven't written anything down yet today, I really want you to write down. It's incredibly simple, but it is so worth using. I talked about sharing knowledge. Okay, you've heard this challenge from this person, you share your knowledge, whether it's right then and there or it's afterwards. Another way to do it, and this goes right to networking. You express a challenge to me about a company that you're trying to get in with. You're a salesperson, you're trying to get into IBM, whatever it is. Different example. You need a summer job. You're not there yet. You're not trying to work for IBM. You need a summer job. You express to me that you need a summer job, and you love working with kids. Did I nail it? Do you love working with kids? Okay, good. And tell me your name.
Megan.
Megan, that's right. All right. Email introduction. This is what I want you to write down. I'm going to make a connection for Megan. Email introduction, subject line, introduction. That's what you call your email. Megan dash Julie, comma, Julie dash Megan. You're now introduced! Exclamation point. Megan, Julie works for Lighthouse Family Retreat. They hold retreats every summer in Florida for families that have a child with cancer. Period. Julie, I just met Megan at a talk at Elon. She loves working with kids. Period. Have at it. Let me know how I can help. Period. All the best, comma, Scott. I just hooked you up. That took about 45 seconds, maybe longer because of the whole period thing. I just hooked you up. It didn't cost me a nickel, right? That can change your life. And I've forgotten about it. Time passes, and now you're working for Lighthouse. You and Julie are saying nice things about me, and I did it years ago, or whatever it is. I've now endeared myself to two people. If I do this over and over and over again, I am thought of well. I'm not doing it for that reason, but I am thought of well. When I need something, I now have those two people, and whoever else I've done this for, that I can reach out to. I'm wondering where I am with time. My clock was messed up. Okay. That's the art of the email introduction. Okay, last thing. When you write a book, you get literary license to make up your own laws. I made up the law of the squirrel. It goes to this acorn thing. So pretend you're a squirrel, big furry tail, the whiskers, the whole deal. You find the nut of all nuts. It's going to get you through winter all by itself. You get going across the street with this big nut in your mouth, and you get about 3/4 of the way across the street, and you start thinking about that other nut. Should I have done that, grab that one instead of this one? You turn back around to go the other way and grab that nut. Bam! You're roadkill. What's my point? Be decisive. Be committed. If you find your it, you find this thing that you're connected to, go for it. Get all the way across the street with it. If you screwed up and made the wrong decision, it's okay to turn around and change course. But don't let the start stop you. I want to read this quote to you. All right, so you listened and took notes today, right? You had some big aha moments. I want you to promise to take the time after today to stop and think about what you've heard. And listen to this quote. This guy wrote a book about one of the top Navy SEALs in history. The author was Elon. He wrote about this Navy SEAL's approach to life. Life is not a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride." That's what little Ella did. She was diagnosed, given weeks to months, and wagged her little finger at that and lived for 1,381 days after that diagnosis. And that whole time, she was living this quote, skidding in broadside, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride." Your ride starts today. Thank you.